Hi everyone, Gavin from CSV Getter here. If you are a Notion user and you're interested in building an API or learning a bit about how to share your Notion data as part of a project, perhaps an analysis project, or you actually want to use your Notion data as a proper database in a coding project, then our tool could be a great introduction for you to do that, because with CSV Getter you can connect to your Notion data and basically build an API or a data feed really easily in a way which will kind of give you an introduction as to how APIs work. So this might even be great for example, just building an MVP with your data. And I'm going to show you how that works in this video. So in my Notion, I've got a dev sandbox. This is just a place where I've got databases which I just use for testing. And I've just made a very simple song database. This is a Notion database. And it just basically is tabular data about songs. And let's say that I want to update this data in Notion. I want to add new pages to this, for example, and I would like to have this as a feed as to something. It could be like code, or it could be an XML feed. Basically what I want to do is I want to come into this app, CSV Getter. This is our platform, and connect to my Notion. So this is very easy to do on the app. You basically just go to the account screen, and in the side pane here, we want to connect Notion. When you connect Notion, you're told to select the pages that you're interested in. Obviously, you can see I've already got Dev Sandbox selected, but you can lock down and keep confidential stuff completely without access, and then you can just cherry pick what you want to connect the app to. Additionally, you can also connect the app straight from in Notion. So in connections here, you can connect CSV Getter. So yeah, I want to export song database here. My Notion songs. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to have a view of my data sample in the CSV Getter platform, which is basically an export automation sending platform. So we will basically see a mirror of our Notion data. So obviously there's the data in Notion, and in CSV Getter, we'll basically see the same data here, and it just shows us a sample. But now that we've connected and we've created this, basically we call this an export URL. This is a URL which can be used to export instantly. So if you press this, you are downloading your data instantly. That's the entire Notion database as a CSV. But we've also got the export URL itself. So this URL here will download our entire Notion data. If you're not familiar with Postman, it's a great app for testing APIs. It kind of works a bit like a web browser. You see, I can create new tabs here, much like I would in Google Chrome or Firefox. And instead of putting in web URLs, I can just put any URL. A normal web URL, that will return HTML for a web page. And this URL here is returning data. And that's essentially what an API is. It returns data for sort of code and apps to read it. And you've kind of built one here by connecting your Notion data to CSV Getter. And as you can see, this API endpoint, it returns CSV data, which is the default value of a CSV Getter URL. But you can see that there's more examples. So if you add type JSON records to the end of this URL, then your Notion data is going to be returned in JSON. So it's very easy to take the same URL, you don't have to create a new one, but convert it into a different type of export by changing this type parameter here. And what we've done, you can see, is added something called a URL parameter to the end of our URL. And here's another example. If I change JSON records to XML, we've actually created an XML feed, all from our Notion data. And this is live. So if we want to update our songs in the database, CSV Getter will be sending the updated data into whatever process you like. It doesn't stop there. So as you can see, you can add the JSON records, and then you can stick on other parameters as well to sort of filter down your data, all just out with the platform. You don't have to be in Notion here to do this. So if I use this one here, you can see that what I've actually done is added 2 parameters now, and I can do this straight from Postman. I don't have to be in the CSV Getter platform. I can just add them from here. And the second parameter is actually using a little bit of SQL to filter the top 5 rows of our data. So that's really useful. And if we're not interested in API data feeds at all, you could even add just a parameter here to render all the data on an HTML page. And that's what this parameter type does here. So I'm not actually going to test this one in Postman. I'm actually going to use my internet browser to show you this one. So with type HTML table, you can see that we've actually just rendered a static HTML page. Now this obviously doesn't look pretty, but it's very useful because some automation processes, they like to scan and find HTML tables. So this would work with Power Query, for example, because this is a very standard format that we're rendering this data, so it fits into a lot of systems. I hope that I've managed to demo some of the ways that you can really unlock the power of your Notion data using this platform. That was just some examples that you have. We've got a lot of inbuilt stuff that works on top of this URL. For example, the query stuff that can be done right within the platform, and you can copy the query URL there. And you can also make embeddable WordPress snippets really easily using these URLs. And we've got loads out of the box which can further be updated by AI tools. For example, there's this URL in this WordPress snippet. You can copy and paste that into ChatGPT, ask it to tweak it perhaps to something more to your liking, and then you're off to the races building really cool stuff with your Notion data, and that's what we're all about. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it's been helpful with working with your Notion data. I hope it makes you want to sign up to our platform, CSV Getter. There'll be a link to CSV Getter in the description, and there'll also be a help email, which is info@csvgetter.com. And we also have a documentation site as well, which highlights a lot of the stuff that I've mentioned in this video and has a write-up of each functionality. Thank you for watching, and if you have any feedback, please let me know.